This episode is proudly supported by Pepe Sayer Australian Cultured Butter.
It's a one-stop shop for all your butter needs at Pepe Sayer. So if you're a restaurant or an airline or a function centre or a cafe, you can give us a call or jump online with us, and we have everything you need for your butter needs. We cover all of it. The biggest one for me is the little logs that we make that you can cut down and put a little Pepe Sayer tab on it. Also the 15-gram portions, but we also do blocks. And in the blocks, so we do 25 kilo or 20 kilo, but we also do a 2 kilo. So you can buy a block of butter 2 kilo, and the prices are really competitive with the rest of the markets on those products.
For more information, go to pepesayer.com.au.
I'm really happy. I mean, I stand there in front of people. I can see on their faces that they're enjoying it. So it's great to be able to feed people again, and I know I like restaurants. It's what I do.
Shortgrain is open. Over 7 episodes, we've been following the journey of a new Brisbane eatery and food store. Proprietor and chef Martin Boetz returned to his hometown of Brisbane to build his first solo enterprise. With money and reputation on the line, Shortgrain couldn't have had more at stake. We followed the design, the planning and the build, and now, finally, Shortgrain is alive. How have the early days been? Is it everything Marty dreamed of, or has it been a restaurant nightmare? I visited Shortgrain to record this celebration episode with Marty. I wanted to see the space I'd heard so much about, feel the vibe, assess the vision, and, of course, eat the food. Honestly, I loved it. From the very first bite of crispy chicken skin loaded with trout, green mango and peanut relish, I was sold. But there was more. It was super exciting to get stuck into the turmeric wafer with caramelised coconut and prawns that Martin told us about one episode, and to get steamy with salt and pepper cuttlefish with sweet soy and lemon. Everything was about big flavours, exceptional balance, all in harmony. I visited the restaurant by night and again by day, enjoying the different feeling. Huge factory windows, high ceilings, clever acoustics. It's a fun space that a diverse crowd seem to find easy to enjoy. But that's me. How does it feel for Martin, the man who made it?
So the 27th of August came around and it was my birthday, and that sort of was the day that I was thinking that I could open. It was a Sunday, and then we just weren't ready. We didn't have enough. The electricity wasn't connected. The gas wasn't connected, and we were still waiting for some equipment to arrive, and we also hadn't really got enough floor staff. So we pushed it back till the following week, which was the 3rd of September, and then that didn't happen either. And then we opened for business on Friday, the 15th of September. And so we sort of a week and a bit in now, and but I did have a party on my birthday, and we did do some cold things in the kitchen, and so I had 50 people for like a bit of a cocktail party in the afternoon. So I gave it a bit of a test run, so it was nice to be able to see what the space felt like with people in it, and it was nice to have all my close friends there with me, and so I sort of put a bit of pressure on myself, but at the end of the day, it worked and people had a great time. And so I knew that the room felt good. And then the following sort of 10 days after that, it wasn't a bad decision that we, waited, or I waited, because I think it's really important to be ready. And I suppose, are you ever ready? You just have to get the doors open at the end of the day. And the first night wasn't that bad. We did 96 for dinner without sort of advertising that we were going to be open, except for one thing that came out that the previous day in the weekend edition. And then every day we've been sort of hovering around that mark, sort of 96 to 110, and so that's been quite good. And we've only had sort of one night that we haven't really hit our strides, but at the end of the day, everyone has really pulled their weight, and we've also got to look, we're still looking for staff, and So hiccup-wise, I don't think there's been really any hiccups. As in, we did have a leaking roof the other day where the air conditioning stuff was the air conditioner at the condensation wasn't funneling through to the drain correctly, and it overflowed and went through a light and came down in the middle of the bar on a last, I think that might have been Thursday night service. And anyway, so that was just one of those things. And other than that, I think all of the all of the staff are starting to gel together. We're starting to know each other more, and I suppose every day seems to get easier, and that's sort of the best feeling. And also driving away, bar one night, really, I've driven away really happy and thinking, we'll just keep going. But then I try to remember back to the beginnings of other places that I've opened, and it has, there's feelings in there of, I suppose, anxiousness, but you just have to get up in the morning and just do it again. And every day, as I said, gets better. So, I think that's my advice. It does get better. It does get easier, as long as you've got the right people around you.
Until there are people in the restaurant, it's all just theoretical. What's the response been to the launch of Shortgrain?
The response has been really, really, really good. I have to say, look, for the few people that have been disappointed and have not been served, or they were expecting something different, I can only apologise. But at the end of the day, 98% of people actually have loved it, and the amount of work that goes into it's a bit labour intensive, and portion sizing, I really have thought about that now, because it's not 20 years ago anymore, and things have gone way up in price, which I've really noticed since opening Shortgrain, even from seafood to meats, fruit and vegetables in particular. But at the end of the day, it has to reflect on the menu, and I've really thought about what we can put on and how it can work for us. And again, it's about what's in season, check what's available, and now coming into spring and summer, or in spring and going into summer, everything's available. And Queensland's a big place that all of this stuff is grown, and I'm really happy with it. Like, the produce up here is amazing.
If you build it, they will come, hopefully. But who are the people finding their way to Shortgrain?
The crowd that's coming in at the moment, I suppose it's lots of people checking it out. And I suppose you don't really know your loyal customers probably for about 3 to 4 months. And a lot of older people are coming through, which is great. And then also long grain fans that live in Brisbane that knew me from Sydney. A lot of them, every night there's somebody that comes in and says, blah blah blah. They've always got a long grain story, so that's really good. And I'm hoping that they will be our regulars. And as it evolves, again, it's building on what we're doing in the bar and what we're cooking, and it'll just get better and better.
There are hundreds of decisions that go into crafting a restaurant. Martin has been saying yes or no, this or that for months. Now, with the restaurant alive, how does it all feel? Is there anything he wishes he'd done differently?
I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think something that, I don't know if we spoke about it earlier today, but I suppose the restaurant tells you what it wants to do, and the people tell you what they would like. So it develops its own personality. I suppose it's like a child that develops its own personality. It somehow tells you, even though it doesn't speak. It does talk to you. And I've found that I wasn't going to take bookings, and we're taking bookings. People want to book, so that's fine. The retail space that I want to turn into a shop may eventually just turn into a bar and a private little dining space. But I still want to have things that we make in the kitchen and bottle and for sale. So that's sort of playing on my mind at the moment. We're only open for dinners at the moment. We're going to open, well, we do Sunday lunch, but we do need to open a few more services. But again, just waiting for some more staff to come on board. And yeah, so that is sort of where I'm at. Things that I'd change right now, I think I'm still thinking about it. But we're open, and I just had to open the door and make some dollars. Yeah, I think the food store can still be a food store. As I said before, I think I still want to have things on the shelves that are made in-house, and yeah, I'm just going to wait and see how that evolves in the next few weeks, because I need to put a lot of effort into that, and that's sort of a separate part of Shortgrain. But people seem to want to be in there having a drink, waiting for a table. So we need space to be able to do that, and we actually need a few more tables. So I might just have to encroach on that space a little bit more. But yeah, we've definitely got the space to do it. So we'll just wait and see.
When you're the owner and the chef, you've got a lot going on. Have there been any teething problems or curveballs in the early days of Shortgrain?
When I was a waitress in my own restaurant, yes. Look, it was my fault, and not my fault. It was my fault that I didn't go to briefing. And I didn't go to briefing because I was doing something and I thought, I won't go to briefing today, I'll just stay in the kitchen. And it's really important that people are present at briefing, especially the owner and the chef, the head chef, because then I would have realised that we weren't staffed up enough, and I would have asked the question, and then I would have said, I'll do the food running from the opposite side of the counter, or the counter, instead of being in the kitchen, I'll be outside. And I think that would have alleviated a few issues that we had on a changeover of the early tables were fine, but when they were changing over for the next wave of people, that's when it became a bit hectic, because there wasn't enough people to do the billing and reset and food run at the same time. So I sort of asked the question of what was going on, and that is where I sort of realised we weren't staffed up enough, and that's when I decided to go on the other side. But the good thing was I was staffed up in the kitchen, so it meant that I could actually go to the other side and do the food running from the opposite side. It just threw me for a moment, because I did actually run food out to tables, and instead of just standing there divvying it out, I just didn't have enough people. And look, it won't happen again. I think that was a one-off, and it's a good lesson for me as an owner to make sure that I'm present, number one, at briefing, and also I'm accessible to the manager. And we had to also, because we don't know each other that well, I had to also say to her, it's my restaurant, please, if you need anything from me, don't ever be scared to ask me, because I'm happy to do it, because I'm here to help you. I'm not, I would never be upset if you said, Marty, I'm short-staffed, can you food run? Not a problem. If people are honest with me, and obviously just honest in general, I think you get a better response than if you spring it on them halfway through service, and then all of a sudden, I didn't lose it. I just had to recalibrate what I was doing, and move forward. And it's about hospitality, and I said that at the beginning. It's really important to make sure that people are happy. And I found there was a few tables that weren't happy, and unfortunately, for one, I couldn't do anything to save that. So I didn't even attempt to. So I just let that disappear. So look, it is what it is, and I think everyone has teething issues, and it's something that we definitely took on board, and I took on board, and we've learnt a lesson from it. And it's about communication.
In the end, food is central. What is Marty loving cooking at Shortgrain?
Oh, you know what? I love Sunday lunch, because we can play with the things that we've got in the kitchen on the menu, because I fiddle with them a bit to, just to make them a little bit more brunchy, lunchy. Like just roasted pork belly, say, with chili jam, and we put it on steamed Chinese broccoli, and that was sort of sitting in a master stock. That was really delicious. I love putting that on the plate today. We had a what else? Oh, we did pad kapow today, which is a stir-fried pork mince with holy basil and snake beans with a deep-fried egg on the top of it. That was delicious. And curries we did a dry red curry of crispy pork with salted duck egg. That has been really popular. I'd like to do more seafood, so I'm just trying to work out how to bring that onto the menu, because seafood is really expensive at the moment. So I just want to try and find a gorgeous fisherman out there who who I can befriend. But everything has been, it's really well, the menu's not huge, so it's actually been quite balanced, and everyone seems to be ordering a good amount of the different things throughout the menu, and there's only 3 desserts on, so everyone usually has one of each, so that's been quite good too. So yeah, no, it's been a really, I'm really pleased with the menu and the variety, and I think there's something there for everyone.
Running a restaurant is a balance of the desirable and the possible. How is the balancing act going in the venue's early days?
The experiences, I think some people would like to sit a little bit longer, so we've sort of done the 2-hour cap. We only seat 60 people, so we do have to turn over the tables to sort of make the business viable. So once the waiters and wait staff are able to read customers, I think if there's tables available in the bar area, they can move them to the bar and we can offer them dessert in there or another drink. And I'm happy to buy people a drink just to sort of not annoy them and move them move them out, but move them somewhere else if there's space available. But again, it's not as big as previous restaurants that I've had, so it's definitely not that spacious, but it's not spacious that we can't do that. So, yeah, and again, yeah, it evolves. It's telling us we need more tables, and it's telling us we need to maybe do some more stools. And stools are coming. They're on a slow boat from China, apparently. They should have been here a few weeks ago, and I'm still waiting for those little bar stools. So, yeah, it's coming.
No one will tell you it's easy to run a business, and it's been a while since Marty has opened a restaurant. He talks about what's changed, what's challenging, and what the expectations are.
It's definitely more expensive, like a lot more expensive, wage-wise, produce-wise. The amount of hours that people work are limited, that they're allowed to work. So that's something that people need to write into a contract. If they want to work people a little bit more, it's negotiable, and you just need to pay them above the award wage, and then it's legal. But you can't expect them to work more hours and not remunerate them for it. It just isn't like it was once upon a time. Like, people want to be paid correctly, and yeah, we're paying people correctly, and I've paid all the chefs and waiters that are full-time above the award wage, so we do expect them to work extra hours if they're asked to.
Throughout our series about the opening of Shortgrain, Martin Boetz has insisted he was opening a casual eatery and not a restaurant. Has he enacted his vision, or has the project moved and morphed?
I had a vision, and the vision's come true. I did have more of a... the vision that I originally had was a lot more relaxed, but what I ended up with was a restaurant, but I can still call it an eatery. And I love it during the day, and I think it's a great lunchtime place, but it is a really atmospheric restaurant at night, and I really like the vibe that it has around the lots of, the people of the valley walking past and things like that. So I really think that that's, it's important to use that as a backdrop. And I moved here to help out my parents, or my mum, and I've decided to open a business. So I definitely will be here for quite a few years. And I'm really happy living here, and I've created my own reality with, my little reality with my restaurant and where I live. And yeah, it's nice. I like it. It's just creating a new family.
Creating a restaurant from scratch is a huge enterprise and no one can do it alone. What has Martin learnt along the journey?
I suppose, lessons again, as we've spoken, and it's woven into all of the episodes. It's you finding the right people to support you and making sure that something that it's come to me again, that you've got to let them do the job that you've employed them to do, otherwise you may lose them. That's my biggest advice to people, is just use them for what you've employed them to do, because it's really easy, especially if you're a control freak, to undermine people, and it isn't great. So it's just I just have to keep telling myself that, and I do, and I've got my ways. It's sometimes you just forget.
He's an industry veteran and he's always collecting wisdom, some of it hard-won. What tips does Martin Boetz have for others embarking on their restaurant dream?
I try and get more than 6 hours sleep a night, but yeah, it's the beginning. So unfortunately, it is what it is, and yeah, I suppose if it's, again, it's just having the right people around you and keeping and remembering to eat and drink water. One thing that I have to say is, especially if you know you're going to be popular or who knows you're going to be popular, but if you know that you think you're going to be quite popular from the beginning, some things like set menus and things that people are asking for straight away, just have a vague idea of what they are going to be, because we're coming up to Christmas, we're getting bombarded with Christmas bookings and what can you do and what's your set menus and things like that. So I've worked them out in the last few days, but it's just something that was added on to a very long list of things to do. So if you can sort of make or have an idea of what that would be, then I did overlook that too. But that's all. I suppose it's more back of house stuff that needs to be addressed and frequently asked questions that could arise. So just, jot them down again.
So, Shortgrain is real. He did it. It's done. But the end of the build is really just the beginning. How does Marty feel when he sees what he's created?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, I stand there in front of people, so and looking at people eating, and it's really, I can see on their faces that they're enjoying it. So, yeah, it's really humbling, I suppose, for less of a better word. But it's great to be able to feed people again, and I know I like restaurants. It's what I do.
It's a thrill to get to Shortgrain, to eat the food, enjoy the vibe, to see its moods from busy Saturday night to long and lazy Sunday brunch. Above all, it's a delight to see its proprietor look so at home. Busy, yes, and tired, sure, but settled and certain, watching his dream not just come to life, but buzz with the energy of a new team, and diners so excited to have a new food playground in their city. Want to look back on the whole series? Search Dirty Linen on Spotify to find our playlist for the long and short of opening a restaurant. We'd love you to listen to the whole series. Thanks, Marty, for taking us on this journey. This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta @Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.